Welcome friends, it is I, LostScarf, and it's time for the Beginner's Guide to Zhong Kui! That's where we're going to cover the magical painter here. He ain't afraid no ghosts. And as always, it's a beginner's guide right here, not advanced or expert. This is all about helping people learn how to play him if they've never played him before, or they're not very good with him, so they can get comfortable with him, get better at the game with him, and then they'll find their way to the more advanced stuff. So that's the idea there. We're going to go over Conquest and Arena, how to build them, do's and don'ts, and everything like that. Also go over his abilities in general, and should be good there. So, let's get going! So who is Zhong Kui? Well, Zhong Kui is the demon queller. The only thing he enjoys more than stuffing demons into bags is watching Bob Ross paint happy little trees. He is a mage capable of becoming very hard to kill and has the ability to wreak havoc against an entire team. If you aren't afraid of no ghost, Zhong Kui is your artist. Zhong Kui's abilities. Now, Zhong Kui is very special in that all of his abilities work together in some way for the most part, and his passive relies on his first two abilities, that's Expose Evil and Exorcism. So what happens is, when you hit someone with Expose Evil and then hit them with Exorcism, a demon comes out of each enemy you hit with that combo, 1+2. Each demon you get fills up Zhong Kui's bag, and each demon gives 2 protection. It goes up to 20 max, so that's 40 protection, magical and physical. Now when you do your ultimate, which is called Recall Demons, which we'll mention later on, your protections are doubled during that ultimate. So you can have up to 80 protection when you're doing your ultimate. That's pretty good there. So then let's talk about his first ability, that is Expose Evil. This is a skill shot that does damage over time as it hits the enemies that it gets placed on. This can be hit on minions and on gods, and it will slow them by 20%. If you hit them with Exorcism, 50% of the remaining damage will be dealt instantly. So that leads into Exorcism. Now Exorcism is a cone attack that's in front of Zhong Kui, and the ability will heal you for up to 3 demons exorcised from enemies. So that's pretty nice there, and also does a lot of damage as a cone attack as well. Then there's his third ability called Book of Demons. Now, as you activate it, it will spin around Zhong Kui and stun his opponents. If they have Expose Evil on them, it will stun them twice as long. Now, if you have it off cooldown and not using it, it also acts as a second basic attack that does 50% of your damage. So you have some basic attack potential, but also some stun potential as well. Lastly, there's his ultimate, which is called Recall Demons. Now this is summoning the demons out of his demon bag. And what happens here is, for the next 5 seconds, his passive protections are doubled, and he's immune to knockbacks and slows. Every second, during those 5 seconds, demons will come out of his bag and attack all enemy gods around him. So you can hurt enemy gods up to 5 times during those 5 seconds. What's also important to know is, during this time, you can use your other abilities. So you can do Expose Evil, Exorcism, and Book of Demons while doing your ultimate, which makes you even more lethal. But you better get out of there when it's done, because once that ultimate's over, you lose all your passives. Zhong Kui in Conquest. Now for beginners, I suggest solo lane with him. For advanced, you can play him in mid. Those are really the 2 best places for him. Solo for beginners, advanced and mid. That's really it. Now as you can see on the screen here, we have a build suggested right here. It's a very safe build. I'll say the overall build first. That is Warlock Sash. Dax gives you a lot of HP and power. Cooldown boots. And now I'm saying Hi-Rez as a placeholder here. And then Gem of Isolation, Spear of Magus, and Rod at the Hootie. The Gem of Isolation, of course, will slow down the enemy. Spear of Magus will penetrate them pretty badly, and Rod at the Hootie will do a lot of power. Now that Hi-Rez is basically the counter build spot for whatever you do on the solo lane. You can have Hi-Rez you want to deal with everything evenly. Now if you want to deal with a lot of physical, you get Breastplate of Valor, or something else that deals with physical stuff. But Breastplate of Valor is pretty good, gives you max cooldown, makes you even harder to kill, so it's not bad there. And if Magical's giving you trouble, you could go for Stone of Gaia if you want to be really hard to kill, or Void Stone if you want to be a bit harder to kill, but also have an ability to kill the enemy magical god. That'd be pretty good as well. Not a bad idea there. There are some items you can get as alternative to some of the items suggested here. If you want more survivability, you can get Ethereal Staff. It'll work off of your Warlock Sash, give you more HP and more power. Not a bad idea there. It's really good if the enemy's got a lot of pen, so that they have HP to deal with instead of armor to deal with. It'll still make you very hard to kill. You get Bancroft's Talon, a lot of lifesteal, a lot of power there. Not a bad idea. Polynomicon if you feel like you need some more power on your basic attack, and also to hurt towers a little bit. Polynomicon really does help with you hitting towers. Chronos Pen if you want to go max cooldown and you want to have more power, there you go with that. And of course Shoes of Magi, so you can do more penetration if you feel like you need it early on instead of cooldown. Then lastly, there's the Book of Thoth if you want even more power. I like to go double stacks with Zhong Kui and myself, but I don't suggest it for beginners. And if you feel like you want to have more power instead of HP, you could always go Book of Thoth first instead of Warlock Sash. But I feel like for beginners you should focus more on survivability, so Warlock Sash would be better for you. But if you want to take the risk of more power, Book of Thoth ain't a bad idea. Then there's actives, as you can see on the screen. And really it depends on what you really want to do here. Now if you want to keep enemies close by, you can get Weakening Curse so that they stayed slowed down for you to beat on them with your ultimate and your abilities. Beads isn't a bad idea, so it gets you out of CC problems, and also so you can do your ultimate without being impeded, because the problem of course with Zhong Kui's ultimate is you're not CC immune, so you can still be stunned during it. The beads will guarantee you don't get stunned during, so that's not bad there. You can also use Blink to jump in on your opponents and cause a big mess there, or maybe Heavenly Agility to give yourself and your teammates some speed so you can chase them down with your ultimate and other abilities to wreck their faces. Now as for abilities, as you see on the screen, I recommend you maxing your Exorcism first, then your Expose Evil, then Book of Demons, and then finally Recall Demon whenever possible. The reason for this is Exorcism and Expose Evil you'll be using a lot, and it's good to have that damage as soon as possible. Book of Demons you'll be using mostly for the stun, and it's not bad at the beginning at 1 second already, and then Recall Demons you want to be able to hurt people pretty badly with it. Now, in the first half of the match, which is the laning phase, Zhong Kui is at his weakest because of the risk of getting killed, because you have to put Expose Evil on all 6 minions, and then you have to put yourself in a dangerous position to hit all 6 with your Exorcism, which will give you, of course, 6 demons for your passive, which gives you 12 protection. It's very dangerous because you have to watch out for the enemy god trying to kill you while you do this, but if you pull it off, you'll be in a better position. Once you have your bag completely full, then you don't have to worry about the enemy god killing you as much. You can take a little bit more damage, but you don't want to be too aggressive. You want to just keep clearing out the minions until you can get your Warlock Sash and then build up that Warlock Sash and then get more items. Once you have Warlock Sash finished, you can go ahead and harass the enemy god all day, and they will not be able to do too much to you. You can just beat them up, heal off the enemy minions, and just be in a good spot. Now, you'll be really hard to gank as well. The enemy will try to gank you. You can easily walk away, stun them, do your ultimate to hurt everybody around you, and just walk back. In the laning phase, you're very turtly. That's why you're in the solo lane so much, and you'll be just hard to kill. Now, if the enemy overcommits, they use their escapes or their stuns or whatever to try to hurt you, and you're in a good enough position, you can do your entire ability dump on them and probably kill them, because Zhong Kui does do a lot of power very quickly. But it's all about being turtly first. Play defensive, harass the enemy god when you can, frustrate them with the fact they're not able to kill you, and just keep your head in the match. You just want to keep farming up and get stronger and stronger and stronger, because the second half of this match is where Zhong Kui really shines. Now in the second half of the match, which is the team fighting phase, you should be fully farmed up on your passive and on your Warlock Sash. With this, you'll have some pretty good life, and you'll be able to do a lot of damage. And what you want to do is you want to find an opening to get into the enemy team fight. Now, you want someone else to initiate the fight, or you want the enemy to go in deep to fight your team. And while they're busy with your team, you jump in there. You either blink in there, you run in there, you do whatever to get really close to the middle of it all, and then do your ultimate. Your ultimate will hurt everyone on the enemy team, put Expose Evil on them, hit them with the Book of Demons, that way they're stunned double time, and then hit them with Exorcism. You'll be doing a lot of damage to your enemies very quickly, and it will be glorious for you and your team. That's really what you are. You are the guy that will horribly destroy a team, or you do cleanup duty. When everyone's all weakened from the team fight, you go in there, do your ult and everything else, and you'll horribly clean them up. Those are the 2 things you can do. Jump into the middle of a team fight and soften everything up, or come into a team fight a little bit later and clean up and kill everyone after that. You can also take people out 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 as well, but Zhong Kui in a team fight will maximize your damage. Do your job and perform well in a team fight, and it'll open the way towards objectives for your teammates, which will give you a good chance at victory. Do's and don'ts with Zhong Kui. Now the first one is to get as many enemies as possible in your 1-2 combo, and this includes the enemy god. If you can get all 7 of them, then you get 7 passive. That's pretty good right there. Another is, remember, you can only heal off 3 demons at a time, so if you're in a bad spot, you can just do the first front 3 minions, and you'll be okay for the heal there. Another is try to fill out your passive as quickly as possible. The sooner that fills up, the sooner you'll have a lot of protections, so you take less damage. And lastly, use your abilities on enemies during ultimate. Some people forget that you can do that, so it's important to remember that you can, so you can just wreck face horribly during your ultimate. And there's only one don't, and that is, don't waste your ultimate on an enemy with an escape or stun. They stun you during your ultimate. If you don't have beads, then you don't actually get to hurt them all that much. If they have a leap or a dash or whatever to get away from your ultimate, then you've essentially wasted it, so just don't do that. Zhong Kui in Arena. Now on the screen you're going to see a build I have for him that makes him kind of hard to kill. Also, it takes advantage of his proccing abilities on his DOT, and the fact his Recall Demons, of course, hits 5 times, so that's why there's Gem of Isolation, and Spear of Magus, which both takes advantage of hitting people multiple times. Maxing out his cooldowns with Shoes of Focus and Breastplate of Valor, making him harder to kill. Giving him some lifesteal with Bancroft's Talent, which makes him more powerful, and of course, Rod of the Hootie to hit even harder. Now there's alternates if you can get maybe an Ethereal Staff, you want to live even longer, you want to pen people more, you can get the Shoes of the Magi. Now if you want to get some basic attack, you can get the Polynomicon. Void Stone, you want to deal with some magical. Hide Urchin, you want to be able to be protected from things in general. Stone of God, if you want to have longer survivability. And finally, Magi's Blessing if you're dealing with a lot of CC, which should help you out during your ultimate. Then the actives are Beads, Blink, Weakening Curse, and of course, Heavenly Agility. Any of these items could be very useful in Arena, and these are the options you have there. As far as abilities go, I feel it's the same as the Conquest one, which is maxing your 2, your 1, your 3, then your ultimate whenever possible. Now, of course, the first thing you want to do in an arena game is to build your 20 stack as quickly as possible. So go to those enemy minions, do Expose Evil plus Exorcism, and get that 20 stack quickly. That way you don't have to worry about getting hurt too much. Now, once you get Gem of Isolation, and then eventually get Spear of Magus, you can do something very interesting with your Expose Evil, and that is hit it on an enemy, and that DOT will be penning them, and will be slowing them down horribly every spot of that DOT. Also, your ultimate will do the same thing with those procs. And this is what you should be doing. When your ultimate is up and there's a team fight, you jump in there, do your ultimate, do all your abilities, and do a bunch of damage to either soften the enemy down a lot or finish them off with all your abilities to kill them after the fight's gone for a while. And when your ultimate's down, focus on the minion on killing minions or slowing down opponents with your expose evil. That's really what you're doing. When your ultimate's down, focus on support. When your ultimate's up, focus on destroying the other team. Do this all correctly and your team should have a good chance at winning. Zhong Kui's weaknesses. Now, Zhong Kui has 4 weaknesses. That's anti-healing, pen, stuns, and escape. Now, 2 are obvious. That's the anti-healing and pen. The 2 less so obvious are the stuns and escape. Now, anti-healing, of course, will make his sustain not as good. Pen will, of course, break through his passive. Then there's his ultimate, which is affected by stuns and escapes. Now, if he gets stunned during his ultimate, then he can't chase down and kill anyone, which really sucks. The other is, if he does his ultimate on one target that has an escape and they just jump away, then his ultimate doesn't do anything, and that really sucks as well. Conclusion. Zhong Kui is a magical bruiser, and he can take a lot of punishment and dish out a lot as well. Of course, the first half of the match, he's not so great at it. He's got to build up, but once you get built up, you just run people the hell over and you cause a lot of death, to the point that the enemy gods will become ghosts, which you'll exercise and put in your bag. Isn't that fun? And remember, the most important thing you need to do when you're playing Zhong Kui, you no die. Alright, so go out there and kick some ass with Zhong Kui, and of course, share the guide with other people, your friends, and anyone you know, so that they can get better at Zhong Kui as well. Because in the end, what's important is everyone gets better at the game with different gods so that they can have more fun with the game, and the better everyone gets at the game, the better the game is in general for everyone, because there'll be higher levels of play there. So that's just awesome there. Next guide, we'll be going over Kumbhakarna, and as always, what supports your job should be to be annoying, very annoying, even more annoying, and goddammit, I hate you annoying. That's really your plan there with Kumbhakarna, and he's really good at it. So that's the guide right there. I had a lot of fun making it. It'll be a lot of fun watching it. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.